First of all, we should always point out that Trump was elected by a minority, with 3 million votes behind Hillary, and a huge majority who wanted neither. The election was the legitimation of a wealthy playboy whose main reasons for being there are being rich and have power. In fact, the stock market was excited when the election results came, giving us a hint of what to expect. The US is booming again, unemployment rate is at a low of 4.1%, stock markets are up, Trump did not disrupt the economy. Wall Street, Dow Jones is in good mood. However, there is a general sense of dissatisfaction, and Trump's approval, around 37 to 39%, is the worst in a president's first year. I think there are two reasons for this. One is the lack of hope of an increasingly shrinking middle class. There is a disbelief in the system from majority of the people. The social fabric is under attack. Americans find it more difficult to pay their bills. The health system is a real joke, in some ways worse than countries like Brazil. Education is held in high debt. The crime rate remains unacceptable, by far the highest rate among developed countries. The police brutality towards blacks and Hispanics is being well documented. There is an idea that nothing was done to all these people. The other reason is Trump himself, an unpleasant figure with no empathy who can get worse with every tweet. Highlighting three of Trump's actions, first and perhaps the most serious is his constant denial of the climate change and refusal of being part of the Paris Agreement. Actually, this month was announced that the year of 2017 was equally warmest along with 2015. And we also say that that's part of the three warmest years on record. The second action was the suspension of the TPP and the TTIP, in my view, the only good things he could have done, because it means, in short, less power to US corporations around the world. These pacts were indeed very controversial. The third point is the constant attack on immigrants, a country that was built by immigrants at the expense of blood and sweat of African slaves and cheap labor from Ireland and many poor immigrants looking for a better life. He, Trump, called the African countries shithole, a gesture that was repressed by international community. In fact, this shutdown that coincides with Trump's first anniversary was caused by the Republicans' failure to reach an agreement to deport 800,000 immigrants. It's been reported that the vast majority of Americans, 87%, are against the deportation of these families. Trump, backed by those politicians, shows that he does not care. He does not have any empathy for citizens who have built a life in the US. In fact, I confess that I thought that to give attention to his personality was a form of distraction, but now I see why Trump's narcissism, being the object of study of many doctors, is something that we should take into consideration. His motivation is to do whatever makes him feel better, not the others. He is motivated by his own ego. His gestures and actions are with the goal of sustaining his own ego, something unacceptable to a politician whose main job is to serve. That leads me also to a personal opinion. I think that ideally politicians cannot be and should not be rich, like in some Scandinavian countries. If you wish to be rich, go and look for another job. But in politics, you have to remember that you are there to serve the people, not yourself, not your ego, not your pockets. Unfortunately, many people do not agree with that or don't think like that, and that's one reason why power is more and more concentrated in the hands of few. In foreign policy has been way worse than I imagined. His recent cancellation of a visit to the US main ally, the United Kingdom, came after a series of events. Theresa May pulled his ear over a retweet of Britain First. For those who don't know, Britain First is a fascist, racist group. Then there was the change of the US embassy to Jerusalem, one thing that can bring up a lot of problems and was criticized by the UN. And more important, the fear of a huge protest after more than a million British signed a petition calling for the cancellation of Trump's visit. This was the main reason why Trump cancelled his visit. Trump is being isolated by the international community and also increased the tension with North Korea. So far, foreign policy is being terrible and it can only get worse. His mental health was raised as a possible reason to get impeached, to get Trump's impeached. But I think that is unlikely to happen. There are also his personal scandals of his playboy life. The most recent one was the bribe paid to a porn actor in order to keep her quiet. We need to remember that for much less, Clinton was almost removed from the office. But what really could remove Trump from the office is the Russian interference in the elections. There are also some scandals involving money laundering that might come up too, but it is too soon to say anything. Machiavelli, in his classic The Prince, reminds us that the ideal is for a leader to be loved and feared at the same time, but if they cannot be both, preferably they should be feared. Donald is neither one or the other, and that makes him an easy target for anyone who has power. If the stock market is currently excited, things can easily change. It's also good to remember that the process of impeachment is a political one, never legal. All you need is some people conspiring against you. For the next year, we can expect more of the same, unfortunately. Tensions with North Korea continue to leave us all apprehensive. The disaster of Trump's foreign policies will also continue, with probably more acts of selfishness towards the non-US citizens. Internally, Trump will continue with his anti-political rhetorics, driven by ego and image, stirring sentiments of hate all over the society. He is a decadent figure, just like the system. He will make anything possible to make things even worse, giving more power to the ones who already have a lot. More natural catastrophes will show us that some of us are wrong in underestimating the power of nature because of the stupidity of those who only care about profits and their images. The stock market will make the rich even richer in a society with huge social disparities. I believe that the only answer to that is that the American people should take to the streets through the Occupy movements, through resistance, through strikes, and ask for his resignation, which I don't know if this will bring what people want, neither. Trump is nothing more than that, a symbol of the decline and collapse of a failed system that has to go.